This Donghua begins in a city in the human world where, at that time, there was a mysterious death phenomenon caused by an online game called Shadow. Everyone who plays the game Shadow will receive a text message containing threats that force them to do something that could harm the players. This terror continues to make people uneasy until one day, a young man named Jian Yao and several people from another world he had met recently decided to investigate the mastermind behind this incident. Some people think that the mastermind behind all of this is a powerful demon wanting to take revenge on humans. This was because several hundred years ago, the human race and the demon race once fought against each other for territory. In the end, the human and demon races made a pact to divide the territory and live side by side with each other. But over time, humans in modern times have begun to forget the existence of demons, and many demons prefer to disguise themselves as humans to blend into humans. All of Jian Yao's adventures began when he reported to the police station about his male best friend Xiao Yuan, who disappeared some time ago. He explained that Xiao Yuan disappeared a few days before the Shadow Game's mass death phenomenon appeared. He believed that Yuan's disappearance was related to the phenomenon, so he tried to ask the police to help investigate Yuan's case. Although the police are still unable to provide much information to Jian Yao, they found some footage showing the location where Yuan was last time. Based on that information, he came to an old villa building on the city's outskirts, where the Shadow Game victims were found. That night when he sneaked into the old building, he saw a male security guard who almost ended his own life due to the threat from the Shadow Game. Luckily, he ran and snatched the knife from the security guard's hands, so the security guard was rescued. However, now Jiang Yao was getting threats from the cell phone host for interfering in the male security guard's affairs. He forcibly pulled into a room containing the corpses of the people who died from the Shadow Game. Not long after, a red-haired youth named Tao Tai came over to him and gave him several streams of spiritual power. With that spiritual power, he could easily defeat the bird demon that nearly killed him. After that incident, Jiang Yao still didn't give up on finding Xiao Yuan and started looking for other information from relatives or people who knew him. Surprisingly, the people he met said that they had never known Xiao Yuan, as if their memories of Xiao Yuan had completely disappeared. A few days later, Jiang Yao was again shocked by the news of the apartment director's death from falling from the roof of the building. However, after he investigated the CCTV footage on the roof of the building, he found that the director did not end his own life but was killed by a girl who seemed to have been possessed by a demon. When that mysterious girl suddenly appeared in front of Jiang Yao to attack him, she was frightened when she saw the fiery red mark on his neck and decided to leave. That night at his apartment, Jiang Yao was captured by two young men from the underworld named Fan Wuzhou and Xia Bian because they thought of him as the soul of the dead who escaped from the underworld. Fan Wuzhou explained that the fiery red mark on Jiang Yao's neck was the mark of a dead person, but somehow, he was still alive today. Whereas, based on the records of the AniKing governing the death of humans, he should have died 10 years ago. He could only surrender when he saw that his soul had been completely released from his body because he had no strength to fight the two of them. But luck was again on Jiang Yao's side. When Tao Tai appeared in his room, Fan Wuzhou and Xia Bian looked scared and decided to suspend Jiang Yao's arrest. The next day, Tao Tai and his male friend Zhouye took Jiang Yao to the headquarters of the Lingu organization. On the way to Lingu's headquarters, Zhou explains that this world is divided into three realms: heaven, inhabited by gods; earth, inhabited by all living beings; and another world or underworld, where the entire cycle of human life is governed. Several hundred years ago, when the battle between the demon race and the human race took place, the demon king named Qiyu asked the four strongest demon beasts for help so that the demon race could win the battle. But the plan was foiled by goddess Moa, who chose to side with humans by sending a heavenly messenger named Yi to help the human race. After Yi defeated Qiyu and the four strongest demon beasts, goddess Moa and Yi were expelled from the heavenly realms for interfering in the affairs of the human world. The war between the human race and the demon race ended completely after the human race split his soul and the souls of the four demon beasts into pieces and sealed them. After that great event, the human and demon races began to live side by side, obeying the agreement they had made together. To ensure that everything goes according to the agreement, the human race and the demon race formed a monitoring organization called the Lingu Organization. Arriving at Lingu's headquarters, Zhou led Jiang Yao to a passage and showed him a painting depicting the divisions within the demon race. In ancient war records it is said that the demon race is divided into two groups, namely evil and good demons, better known as Shikigami. Shikigami often lends their power to selected humans. Even humans can store the power of many Shikigami at once. The chosen people will later be appointed as members of the Lingu organization, including Tao Tai, who has the power of one of the strongest demons Jiyu has ever used in war. Jian Yao was a chosen human who could contain the power of a Shikigami, but he still had not found a suitable Shikigami for him. After explaining everything, Jiu brought Jian Yao with him to the leader of the Lingu organization, Lu Jingyi. Currently, Lu Jingyi and the Lingu organization's investigation team are investigating a case of mass death caused by the Shadow Game. They suspect that this incident is related to the case of Xiao Yuan's disappearance, and the appearance of a mysterious little girl named Ali. It was later discovered that Ali was one of the victims of the orphanage fire who was assisted and cared for by Xiao Yuan. After undergoing treatment for 3 years in the hospital, she was declared dead, but strangely she suddenly disappeared along with the disappearance of Xiao Yuan. A few days after they disappeared, the phenomenon of mass death caused by the Shadow Game began to occur. Therefore, the team from the Lingu organization intends to find out the whereabouts of Ali and Xiao Yuan so that they can find the light behind this case. The next day, Jian Yao and several members of the Lingu organization began to carry out their plan to find Ali. But the unexpected happened again on the way. He suddenly disappeared and moved to another dimension. In that dimension, he is shown Xiao Yuan and Ali's past, who have known each other for a long time. Xiao Yuan always pays a visit to the orphanage about Ali's stay, supporting her from time to time. He did all that on purpose because he was once indebted to her parents, when he almost died. After that, Jian Yao was also shown the scene when Xiao Yuan tried to save Ali from the fire incident at the orphanage. Moments after Ali was declared dead, a black hooded demon approached Xiao Yuan and offered him a deal. The demon promised to resurrect Ali, but on this condition, Xiao Yuan had to be willing to be the demon's accomplice. After he accepted the deal, the demon absorbed his half-soul and turned him into a demon bird. The demon also managed to revive Ali again, but the half-soul that entered her body was in the soul of another demon. After that, the demon ordered them to kill the sinners through the Shadow Game. After learning all that, Jian Yao was suddenly attacked by Ali and was nearly killed by the attack. Fortunately, Tao Tai was able to save him and help him free Ali and Xiao Yuan's souls from the bonds of demon spells. After successfully liberating their souls, they finally reunited and began living in the heavenly realm. Even though the riddle of Yuan and Ali's disappearance has been revealed, Jian Yao still can't accept that his best friend has died, so he decides not to get involved with the Lingu organization anymore. A few days later, Jian Yao's male friend Wen Hai was trapped in a wilderness with 2 of his bodyguards while he was surveying his new project. While thinking about a solution to the problem, an older man named Grandpa Huang approached Wen Hai's group and offered to help them. Grandpa Huang took them to a small village in the middle of the forest so Wen Hai and his bodyguards could stay for a few nights. But before entering the village, Grandpa Huang warned them not to wander around without him accompanying them. They agreed to this, and he allowed them to enter the village and stay at his house for some time. In the middle of the night, Wen Hai and his bodyguards were suspicious because all the residents in the village flocked to a plane carrying a mysterious coffin. Those who were curious decided to follow the villagers secretly. Wen Hai looked surprised when he saw all the villagers, including Grandpa Huang, doing a special ritual by drinking the blood that flowed from the coffin. Not long after, Grandpa Huang and some of the villagers found out about Wen Hai and his bodyguards' whereabouts. Seeing the situation, his 2 bodyguards tried to restrain the villagers so that Wen Hai had a chance to escape from that place. After running far into the forest, Wen Hai escaped from Grandpa Huang's village. However, he ended up in a place not far from the poisonous well, which became the den of evil demons. His soul was suddenly sucked into the poison well until he fainted and finally fell unconscious. A few days later, Wen Hai's twin brother Wen Tao found Wen Hai, who was already in critical condition. Despite receiving intensive medical treatment, Wen Hai's condition still hasn't shown any progress at all. Jian Yao, who was his close friend, was also worried, but he couldn't do much to help Wen Hai. Shortly after, Jian Yao met Jia and Tao Tai, who claimed to be a doctor to the Wen Hai family. He asked Jio what had happened to Wen Hai and their purpose in coming to his house. Jio explained that right now, half of Wen Hai's soul was trapped in the underworld and being held back by a very strong demonic power. The only way to save him is to sneak into the underworld and retrieve his lost soul. However, to do that, Jian Yao had to borrow firepower from the goddess Sakuya living in Pavilion Honan. At first, the pavilion's male servant Hippo refused to lend the firepower because the goddess Sakuya could only decide it. But in the end, she was willing to lend a small part of her firepower after Jian Yao solved the puzzling riddle that she gave. After Jian Yao left the pavilion, Goddess Sakuya revealed that she was the one who had helped save him from his fateful death 10 years ago. However, it is still unknown why she did all that. Before leaving for the destination, Jiao lent some of his strength to Jian Yao because the Jiao family's rules forbade him from interfering with human and demon affairs, so he could not accompany Jian Yao. In this mission, Jian Yao will be accompanied by Tao Tai, a young woman named Bai Ji, and Wen Hai's twin brother, Wen Tao, who secretly follows him. The next day, they set out through the forest to where the poison well was located so they could quickly find Wen Hai's soul. However, in the middle journey, they were blocked by a monster, resulting in Tao Tai and Bai Ji being separated from Jian Yao and Wen Tao. Tao Tai meets his old friend, Xian Ming, who is the guardian of the tomb of the immortal race in the forest. Xian Ming explained that recently there was someone who had unsealed the tomb and secretly stole the coffin from the immortal race tomb. He was afraid that people would misuse the magic power of the coffin, so he advised Tao Tai to follow his friends before anything bad happened. Meanwhile, Bai Ji, who is also separated from Jian Yao and Wen Tao, accidentally finds a poisonous well that is a nest of monsters. As a result, she fell unconscious because she could not avoid the poison contamination from the well. On the other hand, Grandpa Huang, who ran into Jian Yao and Wen Tao, looked a little surprised because he thought Wen Tao was Wen Hai. But after realizing that Wen Tao is a different person, he offers Wen Tao and Jian Yao to stay at his place because soon, it will be dark. After arriving at the inn room, Jian Yao began to investigate every crack in the room for clues. Surprisingly, he found the star badge that members of the lingu organization usually had. Shortly after, Jian Yao and Wen Tao witnessed the strangeness of the whole village herding a coffin to a certain place. Since Grandpa Huang had previously warned the two of them not to interfere in the affairs of the villagers, they decided not to join it. However, Jian Yao and Wen Tao chose to sneak into Grandpa Huang's house to get more clues. While at his house, they found a secret door that led to the basement, and began to explore the room. It turns out that the dungeon is a room where two members of the lingu organization named Mu Jianyun and Qin Yu are held captive. Jian Yao and Wen Tao immediately invited Jianyun and Qin Yu to leave the village through a small alley connected to the forest. After successfully exiting the village, they noticed the suspicious behavior of a villager on guard around the cave. To find out what the villagers were hiding in the cave, Jianyun tried to divert attention from the guardman so they could secretly enter the cave. After exploring the cave, Jian Yao and the others found a coffin the villagers had previously carried to perform a ritual. Shortly after he came, Wen Tao accidentally stepped on a trap on the cave floor, resulting in them all being trapped in the cave. Shortly after, the coffin began to react because the seal that locked the coffin was no longer able to withstand the enormous force from within the coffin. When several monsters came out, Jianyun immediately released his Shikigami power to withstand the monster's attack. Seeing the deteriorating situation, Jian Yao decided to help him fight the monster, while Qin Yu and Wen Tao would find another way out and seek help. Unfortunately, in the middle of the fight, they suddenly fall into the bottom of the cave with the monster. On the other hand, Tao Tai and Xian Ming tried to find the fastest path to the immortal race tomb to save Jian Yao and the others. Tao Tai knew that the poison well was a path that was directly connected to a very dangerous monster's lair, but since it was the fastest path to the immortal race tomb, he chose to take the risk. He would continue on his journey alone, while Xian Ming would use his strength to seal the poisonous well from the interference of other demons. Back to Jian Yao and Jianyun, who still had to fight against the monsters that emerged from the cave. Wen Tao and Qin Yu experienced the same thing. They both had to deal with the attacks from the monsters that emerged from the cave walls. Shortly afterward, Qin Yu used her weapon as a golden whip to defeat the monster. Unfortunately, she was caught off guard because she thought that the monster had died, causing Wen Tao to be seriously injured by the monster's claws. Fortunately, Jian Yao and Jianyun, who were not far from there, managed to kill the monster and heal Wen Tao with Jiao's healing power. After that, the four of them went down a passage they thought was the way out of the cave. But when they were at the end of the hall, they found a large gate guarded by a statue of Qi Yu, the demon lord. After learning that the entire cave wall and the passageway was full of coffins, they realized that the place was a demon's lair. Based on the ancient records in front of the gate, Jianyun knew that it was the place where the immortal race from the heaven realm sealed all monsters and other creatures from causing harm to the human world. Jianyun concluded that the monsters that had previously attacked them were the souls of the immortal race who had turned into monsters. Yet he still didn't know what caused the divine soul of the immortal race to awaken and turn into an extremely dangerous monster. Shortly after, Jian Yao began to be affected by the power of the Qi Yu statue, which forced him to release the firepower of goddess Sukuyu. Jian Yao, unable to withstand the influence, began to blow up and burn the entire wall using the power of fire from goddess Sukuyu. As a result, all the souls of the immortal race were burned to the ground, which caused the seal holding the demons to break. Tao Tai, who had just arrived at that place, immediately ordered Jian Yao to take the soul from Wen Hai and take the others away from that place. Meanwhile, Tao Tai, who has the power of one of the strongest demons, will try to solve the chaos and fight the monsters in the cave. On the other hand, Xianming tried to heal Wen Tao by using his blood drop because it turned out that he was the last descendant of the immortal race who had been assigned to guard the immortal race's tomb. Not long after, Grandpa Huang and the villagers gathered outside the cave felt very sad after learning that the immortal race had been wiped out. This was because, all this time, the entire population of Grandpa Huang's village used the coffin power of the immortal race to prolong their life. Grandpa Huang explained that actually, they did all that because there was a figure of a black hooded demon who once promised them eternal life and asked the villagers to continue using the immortal race coffin in a ritual. After the seal of the coffin was opened, the souls of the immortal race slowly began to be contaminated with evil demon spirits. They began to transform into monsters that could roam freely in the human world. Shortly after that, Grandpa Huang handed over 2 of Wen Hai's bodyguards that they had been keeping in the secret room. The villagers never harmed anyone, but they always imprison those who know about the rituals they perform so that their secrets are unknown to anyone. Thankfully, Tao Tai overcame all the monsters in the cave. Soon, he brought Jian Yao and the others back to the city. A few days after Wen Hai's soul was saved, he slowly started to recover and came back to his senses. After all the adventures Jian Yao and the members of the Lingu organization went through, they finally found out about the deep behind the incident in Grandpa Huang's village and the mass death phenomenon from the shadow game initiated by the same demon. Although they still don't know who this mysterious demon is, at least they have managed to solve the riddle of all the recent incidents. The Donghua ends. The moral we can learn is that our power will be valuable depending on how much we help others and contribute to society. So it is important for us to help each other. Because by helping each other, it will be easier for us to reach our goals.